the universe is always looking to restore balance. And so essentially what that means is that you have to, if you want this thing to be the most that it can be, you have to try your best to live righteously. You have to come clean and be straight up. First with yourself, second with the people that you deal with in your dealings with people. So the best life to live is a life lived with a clean heart. Your heart should be light as a feather. And the way that your heart becomes light as a feather is if you try your best to live righteous. You try to be straight up and down with people. You are who you said that you were. So that's going to mean no deception, no games, no tricks, no all these things that people do. What's up with the deception? Why can't it be straight up? Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody is told a lie in their life. Everybody. So this is not about you being perfect, but this is about trying to be light as a feather, having your life be guided with a clean heart. So nothing is weighing on you. No regrets, no feeling bad because you did something that destroyed somebody or something that you could have avoided. None of that. I think that when I look at business, I like to talk about business. When I look at business, one of the reasons why I would probably never be a billionaire or something like that is because I have a conscience. And to get to those levels, I'm not implying that the people that are billionaires do not have conscience. Of course they do. Some of them, right? Because there's a notion that because you have this amount of money, you've done a lot of you've committed a lot of foul, lewd acts. You've done things that are unscrupulous. You've done things to harm people, so to speak. So I'm not aiming to say that, but what I am aiming to say is that you're going to probably have to do some things that are going to make many people uncomfortable, that are not going to be favorable to people to reach that kind of money, typically speaking. Not always, but typically speaking. So I probably won't get there in life simply because I'm unwilling to do some of the things that are necessary only because I care about people. Because I'm concerned about the welfare of others, there's going to be some things, even though they may be legal. They may be legal in the mundane world, but in the spiritual world, they have severe ramifications. So I'm unwilling to do it. So that means that I just probably can't even get to that level. I'm not even interested in that level. Because think about it, there's a certain amount of money that you can make and you can pretty much do anything you want. You can go anywhere, you can live how you want to live, your family, I'm assuming maybe a couple $1 million a year, you can be good. And you don't have to sacrifice anybody. You don't have to do all this stuff that people do. I'm not saying everybody that's a billionaire or 500 million. I'm not saying that. But what I'm ultimately saying is the point is for us to have a clean heart, to live with a clean heart without destroying other people, and to operate in truth and righteousness as much as humanly possible for you and your circumstances. There's some circumstances that are impossible, that you're going to have to finagle and say some things and toe the line, right? I'm not stupid. So we understand that. But the backdrop to you not living righteous or doing things to people, living in deceit, right? Living in deception, being a deceiver, doing all these different things. The backdrop is sometimes things can skip you and they can go to your children, which is what people don't want. So you could commit something, you can think that you got away, but they'll go to your children. Something will happen to your children. Or somebody you love, maybe. But typically you kind of see this with children. Karmic debt is what we're talking about. Karmic debt is important for you to understand. That the scales have to be balanced on all that you do, maybe. So maybe you may transition from this life and you think that nothing has happened. But again, maybe it may get passed down. What is it? The sins of the father. Maybe get passed down to your children. I don't know. But you're not going to get away. Is ultimately the point. So living with a clean heart, there's no amount of money that you can be paid that would amount to you being able to live with a clean heart, knowing that you've done right by people, you didn't destroy humanity, the people that's around you, you've shown them respect, you've shown them love and honor as best as you could, right? But that karmic debt is important. You have to pay for everything that you do. And if you don't pay, somebody that you love dearly will pay. You ever hear about all these sacrifices? You know, people talk about this person got sacrificed and that person got sacrificed. I'm not going to go deep into all of that type of demonic stuff, but essentially all tabs must be paid. The scales must be balanced. So you want to try to walk the straight line as much as possible. And before we go into it, what about what happens to innocent people? Well, that's another video. That's another video. Pre-life contracts. People speak about pre-life contracts, meaning that when you incarnated, you chose your parents to get the lessons that you needed to get. That's something totally different. That's another thing down the line. My point is simple. Be righteous. As much as you possibly can, be righteous. Because one of the ways that people try to avoid karmic debt, especially people that are powerful, that have a lot of power in this world, what they will do is they'll do something right in front of your face to absolve themselves of paying the karmic debt. They call this karmic cleansing. They will tell you what they're going to do to you, usually to the masses. They'll put it in movies, they'll put it on the news, but it'll be so outrageous that you won't believe that it's going to happen. And so by sharing it and telling you, by sharing it with the public, it's said, right? It is said that they're cleansing their karma because they told the truth about what they were doing, about what they were gonna do to people. Now, I don't know how true that is, but you can look it up, karmic cleansing. And so then you'll see these different viruses, you'll see all these different things that happen, and then you'll find out that something was in a movie 20 years ago, 25 years ago, but nobody believed it. And for them, they have absolved themselves of the karma because they let you know what they were going to do. But people don't do that. People, they don't deal earnestly. And so that is why most people have to pay for the things that they do. Because if you come up and you say, this is what I'm going to do, well, you give them an option to get out or do, go around, do whatever to avoid, right? Because they know. So it didn't come out of nowhere. It didn't come out of nowhere. So the goal is to do righteous as best as you can. Nobody is perfect. The real question that we have to ask ourselves, there's a saying, you are praised in public for what you do in private. What are you doing, or what will you do when no one is looking? This is another thing. People do a lot of foul stuff when nobody's looking, or when they think that nobody is looking. What will you do when there's nobody to hold you accountable, but you know what the right thing to do is? Here's the question. This helps with living with a clean heart. Will you do the right thing even when it's inconvenient, or when it's easy to just do the wrong thing? So again, none of us are perfect, man. We're not even on that type of vibration. I'm not saying be perfect. This is not gonna happen. But there's a lot of things that we could avoid, and we can help ourselves along the way if we make the right decision. Right is short for righteous. If you make the righteous decision, that's the question. Or will your morals become adjustable? Because some people have adjustable morals. Right? They look around, they're like, nobody's looking. I saw so-and-so drop $6,000. It's a crowd of people. They'll never know who got the money. You get it and take off. Now, you need the cash. Now, some people might say, oh, that's a blessing from God. But that's not your money in that sense. So I'm not saying to be a goody two-shoe, but what I'm saying is you want to try your best to live righteous, because at some point it's all going to come back to you. Whether you did good or whether you did so-called bad, even though those are very subjective. That's the other piece. Good and bad, or good and evil, is subjective. Depends on where you grew up or how you look at it. But no matter what, they still have their consequences. Good still has its consequences, and consequences is not a negative thing. It's just the events to follow. So evil has its consequences, and you will be paid, or you will be compensated according to the energy of what you've done. So it does pay. It's just not convenient all the time to try to be in truth, to be straight up with somebody. It's not convenient often because people aren't ready for that type of rawness and realness. So what has happened is we've had to tell lies in this world to soothe egos, to prevent chaos. So I'm not saying be perfect, but what I am saying is the universe is always looking to restore balance, because that's what this is about, balance. When you're off balance, you can't walk. When you're on balance, you walk smoothly. And so the universe operates on balance. It's just that simple. So being solid, being righteous, coming clean with yourself and others, that's important. As best as you possibly can in this plane of existence. Because the truth is that the creator or infinite source or God, the truth is that entity, that which has created all of us, does not go to bed at night. It's not going to be off. It's always working. 100%. It doesn't sleep. So everything you do, maybe a human being doesn't see it, but the infinite intelligence, the source, God, sees it all. And that's who's keeping tabs. That's your energy, on your energy. Remember, you can only get the type of energy that you put out. It's called alignment. You have to get what you're in alignment with. Whatever it is that you're aligned with is what you're going to receive. It may not happen tomorrow, but it might happen in 1 year. It may happen in 5 years. It may happen in a week. It just depends. That part we don't know. So for me, I think living with a clean heart really helps. It impacts your health more than anything. So many people have stress because they got so much regrets. They have so many things that they've done that they wish that they could undo. They've done so much to certain people. And that works against the body. Stress is the number one cause of death in the world because the brain controls the body. So if the brain is stressed, if the brain is full of regret, certain body parts hold certain emotions. Regret, sadness, depression sits in the heart. Anger in the liver. Fear in the kidneys. So all of these things have their impact. The healthiest thing that you can do for yourself is to live right, is all I'm saying.